This story is titled, My Wife Spends a Lot of Time with a Guy She Calls Her Best Friend, and I Feel Like I'm Being Replaced. I'm James, 52 years old. My wife, Lisa, is 49. We've been married for 24 years, built a life together, raised two wonderful kids, and stood by each other through every storm. I thought we had an unshakable bond, one forged through years of love, laughter, and hard-won battles. But lately, something has changed. Lisa has always been an outgoing woman, the kind who lights up a room with her laughter. But over the past year, she's been spending a lot of time with someone new, a man she calls her best friend, Daniel. Daniel. I hear his name every day. In passing conversations, in casual mentions over dinner, in the excited tone of her voice when she gets a text message. She met him at her new job, and they clicked instantly. At first, I thought nothing of it. I trusted my wife. But now, I can't shake the feeling that I'm losing her. It started small. Lisa would mention Daniel now and then, how funny he was, how he made her workdays easier, how they had inside jokes. I'd nod, smile, and brush it off. Every person needs friends, right? I didn't want to be that husband, the one who suffocates his wife with jealousy. Then the little changes began. Lisa started dressing up more. Not in a way that screamed suspicious, but I noticed the effort. New perfume, more frequent trips to the salon, a certain glow about her. When I joked, got a hot date I should know about, she just laughed and said, "You're silly. I just like feeling good about myself." Fair enough. Then there were the late-night texts. At first, I told myself it was nothing, just friendly conversations, but I saw the way she smiled at her phone. The way she giggled at messages she wouldn't share. And when I asked what was so funny, she'd say, "Oh, it's just Daniel being Daniel." And just like that, I began to feel like a stranger in my own marriage. One evening, I tried to bring it up, carefully, without accusations. "You and Daniel talk a lot. You're really close, huh?" I asked, keeping my tone light. Lisa smiled, oblivious to the storm brewing inside me. "Yeah, he's a great friend. We just get each other when, you know?" And that's what hit me the hardest. We just get each other. I used to be the one who got her, the one she turned to, laughed with, confided in, but now there was him. Still, I convinced myself I was overthinking. Maybe I was being insecure. Maybe I was making something out of nothing. Until I found out about the lunch dates. Lisa never mentioned them. I found out by accident, when our daughter Emily let it slip over dinner. "Mom, did you and Daniel have fun at that sushi place today?" she asked casually. I froze. "Sushi?" Lisa and I used to go there for our special date nights. Lisa's eyes widened for just a second, just long enough for me to see it. The guilt. "Oh, it was just a quick lunch," she said quickly. "Nothing special." Nothing special. And yet she never told me. That night, I lay in bed next to Lisa, staring at the ceiling while she slept peacefully. My heart was restless, my mind racing with questions I was too afraid to ask. Was I being replaced? Was I already replaced? I wanted to believe it was just friendship, but deep down I knew friendship shouldn't feel like a secret. Then came the weekend that broke me. Lisa and I had plans, just a simple dinner at home, something we hadn't done in a while. I was looking forward to it, but an hour before, she got a text. She didn't say much, just a quick, "Hey, do you mind if I meet up with Daniel for a bit? He's having a rough day." Something inside me snapped. I should have said no. I should have told her how I felt, how this friendship was driving a wedge between us. But instead, I swallowed the lump in my throat, forced a smile, and said, "Of course, go ahead." And she did. For him. That night, I sat alone at the dinner table, staring at the empty chair across from me, where Lisa should have been. I waited and waited. Hours passed. She didn't come home until nearly midnight, and when she did, her face was lit up in a way I hadn't seen in a long time. "Sorry, babe, we lost track of time." Lost track of time. Something in me broke that night. I wasn't just being replaced. I was already gone. Lisa went to bed that night, completely unaware of the storm raging inside me. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Powerless. This was my wife. My Lisa. The woman I built a life with. And yet, as she slept peacefully beside me, I couldn't ignore the growing distance between us. I wasn't losing her. I had already lost her. The next morning, I made a decision. I wasn't going to let this eat me alive. I needed answers. So I started paying attention. I didn't snoop, at least not at first. I just observed. The way she always smiled at her phone. The way her mood brightened whenever she got a message. The way she seemed more alive after spending time with Daniel. Then I saw the way she hid things. Small things. Turning her phone screen away when I walked into the room. deleting messages. One night after she fell asleep, I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked her phone. My hands were shaking as I scrolled through her messages. At first, nothing seemed too bad. Friendly, playful, but then I found something that sent a cold shiver down my spine. Daniel, I love talking to you. You're the best part of my day. Lee, same. I don't know what I'd do without you. I stared at the words, my heart pounding. Maybe it wasn't physical. Maybe it wasn't technically cheating, but it felt like a betrayal. She used to say things like that to me. I didn't confront her right away. Instead, I waited, watched. And then, something happened that changed everything. A week later, Lisa told me she was going out with friends. I had a feeling. A gut feeling. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I followed her. I know, it sounds desperate. Pathetic, even. But I needed to know. She drove across town to a quiet little cafe. And there he was, Daniel. They sat across from each other, laughing, leaning in close. It was subtle, but I saw it. The way he looked at her. The way she glowed in his presence. The way her fingers brushed his when she reached for her coffee. I couldn't take it. I walked straight into that cafe. Lisa's eyes widened when she saw me. James? Daniel turned, confused. He didn't look guilty. He looked curious. I sat down at their table, my heart pounding. So this is what going out with friends looks like. Lisa turned red. It's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, Lisa, I said, my voice quiet but firm. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like my wife is on a date. For a moment she said nothing. Then she sighed. James, please, don't do this here. But I wasn't backing down. No, we're doing this now. Daniel cleared his throat. Maybe I should go. No, I cut in, my eyes locked on Lisa. Stay. Since you're such a big part of my wife's life, you might as well hear this too. Lisa looked at me, her expression shifting from guilt to frustration. James, you're overreacting. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Am I? Then tell me, Lisa, what exactly is this? Because it sure as hell doesn't feel like just a friendship. She hesitated, just for a second. But it was enough. Daniel shifted uncomfortably. Look, man, Lisa and I are just close friends. She talks to me about things she feels like she can't talk to you about. That hit me harder than I expected. I turned back to Lisa. Is that true? She looked down. Sometimes. I swallowed the lump in my throat. And why is that, Lisa? Why can you talk to him but not to me? She sighed, rubbing her temples. Because he listens. My heart cracked. I listen. She met my gaze. Not like he does. That was the moment I knew. It didn't matter if they had crossed a physical line. She had already given him a part of her that used to belong to me. And I had let it happen. Somewhere along the way, I had stopped being her person. Stopped being the one she turned to, confided in, laughed with. I wasn't losing my wife. I had already lost her. I stood up. Lisa reached for my hand. James, please. I pulled away. I can't do this, Lisa. If you want Daniel to be the one you talk to, the one you turn to, the one who listens, then maybe you don't need me anymore. Her eyes filled with tears. That's not what I want. Then what do you want? Silence. And that was my answer. I turned and walked out of that cafe. For the first time in 24 years, I walked away from my wife without looking back. If this story resonated with you, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Have you ever felt like you were being replaced in a relationship? Share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your stories.